All right, so just do a quick little review on quadratic transformations. I have the formula vertex form here. Y is equal to A times the quantity X minus H squared plus K. Just as a reminder, again, we spent a good deal of building time on this one. H, or the H, the number inside with the X after the sign, plus or minus, shifts us left or right. If it's a minus a number, then that means it moved us to the right. If it's plus a number, if it's X plus a number, it moves us to the left. The K, which is the number at the back outside of the parentheses, it moves us up or down, and it's whatever the sign is. If it's a plus a number, we move it up, and if it's a minus a number, then it moves you down. Then the A out front, if A is bigger than 1, then we have a vertical stretch. If A is between 0 and 1, we have a vertical shrink or compression. So that's when A is basically, like in that case, it would be like a proper fraction, 1/2, 1/4, 5/9, something like that. And then the last thing is if A is negative, it reflects us over the x-axis. So instead of our parabola opening up, like the parent function does, if there's a negative value out front there for the A, then it reflects us over and we open down. So let's do a couple. We have some example here just to run through. The first one here, again, we're just isolating and talking about what all has been taking place here for transformations. So there's two transformations that are taking place. We see a negative in front of the parentheses, which tells me that part right there. That tells me that I reflect over x-axis, and then the 2, and that's where they say it opens down. Because again, parent function y is equal to x squared is a U-shaped graph like that, and it's opening up. And since I put a negative in front, we're going to open down, so it's going to be an upside down U. And then the minus 2 tells me I shift left or right, and again, it's the opposite of what's on the inside, so that tells us we went right 2. Again, one other way to think about it is what you can put in, okay, what number do I need to put it in there to make the inside of the parentheses 0? I got to put a plus 2 in there so that when I do positive 2, minus 2, I get 0 for an answer. So that's why it's telling me I went right 2. And that's another way to look at it. So next, the rest of these problems, we're going to just identify what transformations are taking place here. Again, I see 2 transformations. I see the 3. The 3 tells me that I have a vertical stretch. Again, in this case, the 3 is the A value, so A is equal to 3 in this case. Now, the squared is on the X, and then the plus 1 is at the back, so this is not inside. So this tells me that this is a vertical shift. And we got a vertical shift up 1. All right, next one here, again, I see 2 things take place here. And again, if you want to work ahead of me, you're more than welcome to. So I see something there, and I see something at the back. Again, the negatives out front. That's basically my A value is negative. My A is in -1. So this tells me that I have to I reflect this over x-axis. So it's going to open down is what's going to end up happening. So my picture will open down is what it'll look like on a calculator. On the last part here, the -5 again is after the squared, so that means it's in the back of the problem. So that tells me I have a vertical shift down of 5. All right, number 7, 3 things going on here. We got something out front, something in the middle, and something at the back. So again, out front of the parentheses or in front of the, out there tells me my vertical shrink and reflections and my stretches. Well, again, it's 1/3. A is equal to 1/3. And 1/3 is technically between 0 and 1. So that tells me that this is a vertical shrink. Again, you can use the word compression. Inside the parentheses, we see a +2. So this means I shifted horizontally, left 2. Again, as I mentioned up earlier, again, you can think about, okay, what makes me negative or makes me 0 inside the parentheses? -2 plus 2 equals 0, so I went to the left to -2 to put the dot. And then the number at the back here, that tells me my vertical, again, my shifting up and down. So we got a vertical shift up 3. Again, anything outside the parentheses is a vertical transformation. Anything inside the parentheses is a horizontal transformation. And inside the parentheses is always the opposite of what you'd think it would be. Whereas everything on the outside stays what it looks like. All right, number 9, one transformation here. Just something on the inside here. So again, we see the +3 on the inside, so we know it's a horizontal shift. There we go. A horizontal shift. And let's see. And it would be technically to the left 3. Again, what would make the inside 0? A -3 plus 3 equals 0, so I had to move to the left 3. So again, picture-wise, again, you always check it with graphing. You'd always have to burn into your memory or graph on there y is equal to x squared, the original parent function. And that would be centered at the origin with the vertex. And again, our problem over here on the left, we say that, and we did this in a lesson, the vertex form, the vertex for this problem is basically -3, 0. And so that puts the vertex at about right here. There's my -3 roughly, and then we go up. And so we notice that, hey, we moved the graph, the blue graph to the orange graph, and went to the left. 3 units is where the vertex transformed to. And of course, every other point that's on the graph too. So again, graphing it is a nice way. Desmos is a great way to pick it up really quickly because you graphs it instantaneously. I put some variations once here as we finish up the videos here in the next couple minutes of saying if you started with a function and they asked you to transform it, what would the new equation be like? These would be like your level 3 and level 4 problems they could ask us. Really level 3 problems they'd ask us on a state test. If you wanted to shift y is equal to -3 times the quantity x minus 2 squared plus 1 down 5, and to the left, what would be the new equation? So the down 5 tells me that I need to, with the k value, I need to subtract 4. And then this left 5 tells me that the h value I need to, if I'm doing it to the left, that means I have to be adding 5 to the h value because the adding moves me to the left. So as I take my equation, I would say y equals -3, parentheses, and then it'd be x minus 2, and then I add 5 to that h value. And then I have my k value, and then I have to subtract 4 from it. And then I just clean it up. Y equals -3 times x plus 3 squared, and then we have -3. And again, you can always check, you can always graph this on the calculator, graph the original function, and then type in the next function and see, okay, did it move the first function to the left 5 and then down 3? Okay. All right, next one here. If you want to shift that equation left 2 and up 5, so the k, I have to add 5 to it. And then again, left means I add, so I have to add 2 to the h value. So now, as we look at our equation, y equals x squared plus 3, there's no h in there because there's no plus or minus inside. So we could rewrite this as x minus 0 squared plus 3. And then now again, I add 2 to the h and 5 to the k. So y equals x minus 0 plus 2. And then take my k and add 5 to it. And my new equation would be x plus 2 quantity squared plus 8. If you wanted to shift that equation down 3, so k, I'm going to do a -3. I'm going to subtract 3 from it. And then and add and go right 2. So right 2 means I subtract. So I got to subtract 2. And I guess I should be always having those little, just h minus 2. So as I start with my equation again, dun, 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 subtract 2 from the h, take the original, whoops, sorry, they did not have a k there, so the original k was 0, and then I have to subtract 3 from it. And I clean this up, and I get x plus 2 squared minus 3. And last one, if you wanted to shift that right and up, all right, so again, it's y equals negative x minus h squared, and technically it's plus 0 because they don't give me any other numbers on there. So right 3 means I have to do h minus 3, and up 5 means k plus 5. So y equals negative x minus, and then I have to do, again, the original h was a 0. So 0 and then minus 3. And then plus 0 plus 5. And so my cleaned up equation, negative parentheses x minus 3 squared plus 5. Okay, so again, all these transformations, we're going to have some other more videos on this stuff with different functions. But again, the numbers on the transformation stuff do the same thing no matter what parent function you're working with.